Hi guys, let's take a look at homework 2.2 number 16, which is corresponding to section 2.2, this particular problem, 48, okay? So in this problem, the requirement is rewrite this logical statement, the symbolic form, into an equivalent logical expression without the symbol. This arrow symbol implies or if and only if symbols. And then we also don't want the result to have the or symbol. In other words, we can use only and not. So let's take a look at how we can do that. First of all, so because by looking at that, this guy has the least priority. So if you read this guy, the way you read it is this is a group. This whole thing implies this whole thing, right? This whole thing. And the reason I have to talk about that because that's how we are gonna apply this result. So P implies Q can be written its equivalent expression as not P, which is not the first part, or not or Q, which is the second part. So therefore, applying this principle, this logical equivalence, I can rewrite this not, not, so this guy is actually equivalent, not the first part, right? What is my first part? This is my first part, P or not Q. And then I have to use or the second part, So what is my second part? This is my second part. So therefore, this is my second part. Or Q. Okay. Now, good thing is we have achieved the first requirements. There's no more this symbol like implies or if and only if. There's no arrow symbols. Second thing is we don't want to use any or. There are all ors here. So how do we rewrite the or using and not the negation? We use this result. This is actually the De Morgan's rule, right? One of the De Morgan's rule, not of the not P or not Q. So when you distribute this, when you drop the parentheses, you negate both and then change this to and. So that's how we. This is actually the De Morgan's rule. So therefore, we're gonna rewrite that. So again, how do we apply that? This is saying think of this P as the first, the parts before the or, Q as the parts after the or. So when we rewrite it, it's gonna be negation and then grouping symbol, negation of the first part, and the negation of the second part. So I'm gonna apply it. So therefore, I'll apply it here. This, I just copy down the not right there. So this is the or, right? This is my first part. This is my second part. So let's try to rewrite it. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I have, actually I do not have enough room. I'm going to move this. I'll just do it on the bottom, okay? The bottom, so congruent to. So my plan is rewrite this in here, rewrite this in here so that there's no more or symbol. So according to this rule, I'm gonna not the not of the first part. So not of the first part, right? The first part is this guy, and not of the second part, right? Negation of this Q. Q is the second part, so you have to negate the second part. What's the second part? Which is not Q. So not Q. So because this is my second part. This is my first part, okay? And similarly, when I apply these results to this, you're gonna have not of the R and not Q, right? Okay, Well, obviously, there's a little simplification you can do. The not Q, which is equivalent to Q. So I don't want to just rewrite another whole line. So I'm gonna erase these two because not and not kind of cancel out with each other. So that's what I would do. That's what I would have now. So I'm gonna move this a little forward, condense it a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now, so now at the end, we have to write the very last one, right? So the very last one, this guy should be taken care of. Okay, this guy should be taken care of. And now, this is the part before the or, and this is the part after or. So I'll think of this guy as my P, right? This whole thing is the part before the or. This whole thing is the part after the or. So I have to apply this result. This result says not. So it says not the first part, right? So therefore you have to, like here, copy this whole thing down. So I'm gonna use a parenthesis, different color. So I'll just copy this down. I somehow wanted to simplify this a little bit actually. So but I'm gonna not P and Q. Okay. And similarly, oops, I should not use or anymore. It should be and the not the second part, right? So the not of the second part, not of the second part. By the way, this not is just supposed to be there, and this actually is the second part right there. Okay. Now, obviously, there's a little bit that you can simplify. It's really sometimes it's a little too much right here, and I hope that you can see that not and not is actually can cancel. Not negation and negation is just the same. And similarly, this negation, I'm sorry, this one cannot be simplified. This one can be simplified because they are inside the, I have to one more time emphasize, this actually is the whole thing. So this not is for the whole thing, just like the outermost not is for the whole thing. I cannot really simplify it. But inside here, right? This not and this not, this is not of the whole thing. These two knots can actually cancel one. So not and not, they can actually cancel, right? So therefore I would write my very last version. I don't think any other thing can be cancelled. Well, these two, nothing else can be cancelled here. But if you look at here, this knot of this whole thing, these two knots can be negate and negate, that kind of cancel out with each other. So these two can cancel each other, right? So therefore you have not R and not Q. I know it might be a little confusing, but this is how it works.